Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Brothers Whimm podcast. I'm your host, Ian, joined, as always, by my brother and co-host, Matthew. How you doing today, Matthew?
I'm doing good, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm not good, actually, Matthew.
Really?
No, not at all. You want to know why?
No.
Because we are still... Oh!
I answered wrong, but yes, go ahead.
We are still in the same setup as we were
yes.
the entire time when we filmed together, and for our consistent listeners, they probably know that we promised 2 weeks ago
Yes.
that last week we would have a new setup. We would be recording in a new way.
Yep.
I'd like to offer an apology.
I'd like to also offer an apology because it's on both of our behalfs that we did not get this done.
Yeah, I want to say we're busy, but we're not really that busy. we could figure this out.
It's more that the podcast is like on the back burner for both of us in terms of when the day
Speak
comes
for
up.
yourself. It's the most important thing
yeah,
in my
okay.
life.
I mean, that's fine. For me, it's on the back burner. I care about work, getting ready for school, working out, the diet, and then the podcast.
I eat, sleep, and breathe this podcast. But there's nothing else.
Hey, I'll push all the work to you then
if we have a personal relationship and you listen to this podcast, it's not as important as this podcast. I'm sorry to tell you. Yeah.
But the podcast, you can listen to the podcast to get the
you'll get the idea.
The friendship.
Yeah, it's pretty much there.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But
live platonically through the podcast.
I'm joking.
I'm joking.
we should have a new setup by now. But the sad truth is we don't. So
yes. It's also extremely hard. Like getting a new setup is going to take probably 3 hours.
Yeah, it'll be annoying because we'll have to bring my webcam down and my microphone and
then we're gonna have to bring it all back. Yeah, well, no, and it's also where are we gonna do it? What table are we gonna use?
Are we using this?
How do I do a dual mic setup? How do we do a dual camera setup? There's a lot to it.
Sounds like you, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, that's fair. But I have no clue. I haven't even looked into it yet.
No, so we'll have to do some research on that one.
I think this mic will be fine. I think it's your mic that is going to be the problem.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk.
It's your mic might pick up mine. This one is a studio mic, so it only picks up like directly in front of it. It won't pick up anything behind it.
That's gonna be
tough. Yours also does it, but it's not as good.
Yeah, we'll have to do some testing. Maybe I'll go sit and look in a different. It'll just be like the old podcast.
yeah. We'll just be remoting in. Yeah.
But so if you're very heartbroken about this, which I doubt anybody is, but if you are, then I'm sorry that I made light of your problem, and we're gonna hopefully. Let's give it. Should we give it another time period? I was gonna say 2 weeks. I was like, give us 2 weeks. But
coming up is a busy time, and I do not want to deal with setting.
All right. Well,
honestly, it could be next week. That's probably the most likely for me is to get it done next week.
We'll give
after that. No,
we'll give it a week to 3 months.
Yeah.
We're like an electrician. That's like I'll be there anywhere from 7 a.m. to 2 weeks from now.
Contract us out, and we have no clue when we'll be there.
Just hopefully that you're there, or else we're gonna steal something. So
man, contractors suck.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's annoying.
I've seen a lot of things about them, and it's just complaints.
Mm-hmm. I mean, no one's ever happy. I feel like with the,
yeah.
Sorry if you're a contractor out there, but
there are. I shouldn't like blanket say contractor, but like facility contractors.
I was a contractor at one point, but that was for the government.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like that's fine.
Man.
IT contractors, they have to be quick. Like the point is that they respond extremely quick.
Yeah.
But like facility contractors, people that work like physical objects and like electricians, fence, land management and stuff like that. It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I'm going to have to deal with them.
Mm-hmm. And that's
going to be my job soon.
That was talking contract.
Yeah. And that was the contract section of the podcast.
But for now, we're going to start a new segment on the podcast that I like to call Matt's Movie Corner. And I like to call him Matthew. But we'll call it Matt's Movie Corner for simplicity.
Yes.
And Matt, we're going to go through all the movies because you're into movies recently. This might be like a couple month segment.
Yeah. It's not going to last too long, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I love watching movies right now. I used to hate watching movies. I didn't ever want to put the 2 hours in to watch it, but I'd always watch 2 hours of YouTube videos instead. I think we've talked about this before.
We have.
It's just poor time management, and I was like, I have 2 hours. Let's watch a movie. And I usually only watch them at night to get the vibe right.
Yeah.
Watch them with no lights on, just full theater-esque experience in my room.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. It's been a lot of fun. I started with rewatching a movie.
So let's time out real quick. Let's make this segment have some rules, or else this will take like the entire episode.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna give an under 2 minute response to you're gonna give a movie. It's gonna be a minute or two of a synopsis and a review.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're gonna give it a rating out of 10. Would you recommend someone watch it? All right. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Break.
All right. So I'll start with the first movie. So I started with rewatching Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, an A24 movie.
A movie I've also seen.
Yes,
but not...
we watched The Green Knight, and this is really what sparked it. I really loved The Green Knight, and I wanted to rewatch some of the A24 films that I had liked, and I really liked Uncut Gems.
Is that A24?
It is, yeah.
Wow, okay.
But it's a different, like, main directing company. Like, they produced it, but it's not exactly film. Yeah, it's not exactly an A24. They had their name on it, though.
What's it about?
It's about a guy who is down on his luck because he is a terrible money manager. He is running a jewelry store in New York, Brooklyn, I believe, and he is constantly pawning things, getting money to make more bets on sports. It's a sad movie. Yeah. The entire time you feel bad, but you know it's his fault. Everything is his fault. You know it is. He doesn't. He has no clue. He denies it the entire way, and with no spoilers, it's a wonderful ending.
I like the ending of that one.
So good. It's like nothing beats it.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it, and even though I knew everything that was coming, it still hits as hard as it does. Like, wow.
It's a crazy ending.
It's amazing. And then you're just like, what happened? The score at the end of the movie is just beautiful. Like, the cinematography at the end is great.
Kevin Garnett's in it.
Kevin Garnett's a star in the movie. Lakeith Stanfield is his friend.
Oh, yeah, I love Lakeith Stanfield.
I love Lakeith Stanfield. I love Adam Sandler in this. Adam Sandler was bonkers. And, yeah, overall, I'd give it probably a 9 out of 10, 9.2 out of 10. After a rewatch, it did go up. I'd say I give it like an 8.7 before, and now it goes up to a 9.2.
I was confused there.
Yeah. What?
You're like, now that I've watched it goes up 8.7.
Oh,
I was like, that's down from 9.
That is down. No. The first time I watched it, I'd give it an 8.7. Now I'd give it a 9.2.
And I guess that's a recommend, huh?
Oh, 100% a recommend. Definitely watch Uncut Gems.
Do you think it's for everyone?
No.
Okay, that's the thing. Cause,
it gives you anxiety. So if you don't like that feeling, or you don't really want to feel that, you kind of shouldn't watch it.
Yeah. I watched it with my roommates and then a couple of our friends that still are females.
Yeah.
And this just was the way it goes. I said we're females, but they still are females.
I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's a weird way to say it, but it works. All the girls hated it.
That's fair.
They all did not like it. Like some of them left halfway through. They left our house. They literally just went away. Yeah. And then all of us, the guys in the house, we loved it.
Yeah. I think it really hits home if you've ever sports bet before, because you know the rush. Like, it's all about the rush.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the rush of gambling, or you don't understand the rush of sports gambling in particular, there's nothing like it.
If you have a degenerate gambler in your life,
you'll
understand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because Adam Sandler plays a degenerate gambler.
Yeah, and it's sad. Like, it will never make you feel good. You'll never, I mean...
It's good because it doesn't paint gambling in a good light either.
No,
because gambling is a real problem for people. So.
The whole point is for the audience to see that he is living a nightmare and he doesn't see it.
Even when he wins every now and again, it's still like you'll see that it's not good.
He messed up in some way. Something happened where he didn't get it, or something went wrong, or he
won but he had to neglect something with his family.
Yeah, or he had to pawn something off to actually place the bet and he can't get it back, and it's like. It's a nightmare.
But good movie.
It's hard to understand the first watch through too. I think the second watch through got me. Got me good.
All right, what else you got?
I got Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, you definitely can't spoil this. We're not spoiling any of these.
Hopefully, I will remember not to spoil any of these. If I do, I will cut it out.
This is one I want to watch. So
yes. So, Blade Runner 2049 was an amazing movie. It's a thinker, but it didn't feel like a thinker. Okay. It felt like an action movie. But then when you start to really get into it, you realize that there's a lot to it. So it's kind of like a movie I'll bring up later that we watched together.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said thinker, but action movie. Maybe
you come back and you start watching videos, like YouTube videos on it, and you're like, I wonder what this meant or what that meant.
Yeah.
And then you start to piece it together. And sadly, I hadn't seen the previous Blade Runners, which I now wish I had.
There's more than one Blade Runner?
I think there's 2 beforehand.
Okay.
I'm not sure. If not, there's only 1. But yeah, I haven't seen it, and apparently the storyline goes into it, continues in this one, but you don't need to see him.
I don't know if there's a second one. Because it's based on that book, I Dream of Electric Sheep, right, by Aldous Huxley.
I don't know. No clue.
Never mind.
I think one of the reviews I watched mentioned movies and then kind of acknowledged that there was only one, but said there was 2 storylines. So,
anyway, not important.
No clue, but I wish I had seen them before because it would have made this movie so much better. I would have gotten a lot more references. I would have gotten a lot more dialogue that was happening. So they set you up in a way that you can watch it if you haven't, but better if you have. But overall, great movie, beautiful colors, great set design. Like, the environment is beautiful for what it is. It's a dystopian world.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be beautiful, but it's beautiful in the sense that it's so well done.
Okay.
It's very representative of what they're trying to do.
Okay. Out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 9.1. It's under Uncut Gems just because I think it's a more rounded overall film. I think there's still... Uncut Gems,
okay,
sorry. Uncut Gems is a more rounded film. But Blade Runner is also just great.
Okay. Recommend?
Recommend. 100%.
If you're into sci-fi action think pieces.
Yeah. Same for this movie. We'll skip to Tenet.
Yeah.
Tenet, Christopher Nolan's most recent movie, was amazing.
Yeah. We watched it together last night.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
So I had watched it the night before we watched it together, or 2 nights before we watched it together. And I came up and I told him, I was like, wow. Like, this movie wowed me. And I started watching YouTube videos trying to understand it more because it is super confusing. They give you questions and they don't answer them until later in the film. That's how the whole movie works. So it can get extremely confusing.
It's one of those movies you can't be on your phone at all during.
Yeah.
If you miss like a minute of it, it's over.
You miss the dialogue in the beginning, you have no clue what's going on.
You'll get confused even if you pay attention the entire way, so don't worry about that. Like, I was going into it, I was like, I'll be able to get some of this, and I guessed some small things when we were watching together, and I was like, oh, nice, I got this.
Ian caught a lot of things that were very small that I didn't catch on my first watch through, but I was looking for on my second watch through. So I was surprised in that sense. Yeah. And I think you enjoyed it more because you did.
But my brain was still melting by the end of it.
Oh, yeah. No, I had a headache after watching it, but it was a good headache. Like, you want a headache after this movie.
Exactly.
Overall, I'd probably give it like a 9.7 out of 10.
I loved it.
A very top-notch film.
I'd agree. I'd probably say 9.5 or above.
Yeah, if you
I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah, if you start to go into it and you start to look into like time travel and things, you miss the point. It's not going to work. Time travel does not work in our minds. We don't know what time travel looks like, so nobody's ever accurately represented it. But this is really cool. It's a cool representation of time travel. They don't care to explain it, but they give you some hints as to what it could be.
Yeah, they hold your hand enough to where it's like, you got it, come on, come here.
There's a point where they're explaining it, and the scientist who's explaining it says, don't think about it, just feel it.
Yeah.
That's no spoilers there. That's just a dialogue piece, but that's exactly how you have to watch the movie.
You have to follow that advice, too. Yeah.
Do not think about it. Just follow along. Like, go for the ride.
Yeah.
Overall, like I said, 9.7 out of 10. Very much a recommend. If you liked Inception, this is a very close movie to that. Again, if you liked Blade Runner 2049, you like that.
The score is really cool in this movie, too.
Oh, beautiful score. Ludwig Groben something.
Ludwig G.
Ludwig G. Yeah. Beautiful rendition of what Hans Zimmer used to do.
Yeah.
I honestly, the first time I watched it, I had no clue. If I wouldn't have told you, I don't think you'd know either.
That it wasn't Hans Zimmer?
That it wasn't Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's the normal composer for Chris Nolan movies, if you're not aware.
Yeah,
if you're not Chris Nolan fans.
If you're not a extreme Chris Nolan fan.
If you're not a loser like we are.
Or you're not a classical music fan, because Hans Zimmer is, I mean, he's not classical, but he is modern classic.
His piece Time from Inception is beautiful. Like, if you... I know you don't listen... Not a lot of people listen to classical music, but this isn't classical, but it's like...
It's movie.
That style. It's score. So I recommend that.
Yeah, I have a whole score playlist, which is a little nerdy. But yeah, I have a Hereditary song, an Annihilation song.
That song's freaky.
It's so freaky, but it's so good. It's so well done. And like 7 Hans Zimmer songs. Yeah. Like, nobody... I don't have John Williams, who's the other big one for Disney.
That was Star Wars, right?
Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Oh, yeah. Every Disney movie you've ever seen. And yeah, he's number one. And then it's probably Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't listen to a lot of John Williams.
Anyway, Tenet was good.
Either way, yes.
Highly recommend if you can pay attention to it. If you're one of those people that are like on your phone halfway through the movie, like you're not gonna like it. You're gonna be like, why am I watching this?
If you ever fall asleep during movies, don't watch it. You're going to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because the action doesn't happen until the last like 15 minutes.
There's some action in here.
You're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's right back in the dialogue. You're not gonna. You have to be attentive the entire time.
Tenet too.
Bang. Transition to the Suicide Squad off of that.
Oh yeah, we watched this together too.
Yes, the Suicide Squad was the new one. Sorry, 2021.
No,
James
so
Gunn.
The one in 2016 is called Suicide Squad. This one's called
the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So there you go.
There we go. The Suicide Squad 2021. We'll add that just to make sure. By James Gunn. Was wonderful.
Another one I watched.
Yes. I wouldn't say it's as wonderful as any of the other ones I've mentioned because I'm literally watching like the best films I've heard of.
It's probably the most fun one.
It was very fun. I compared it to Die Hard for like sci-fi, like sci-fi Die Hard. Turn your brain off. Don't care about like pretty much anything and just watch it for fun.
If you don't know anything about the Suicide Squad, by the way, it's DC Universe criminals, and they're given a chance to reduce or get rid of their criminal sentence because then they're like super criminals, like famous ones like Harley Quinn, Joker, sometimes in Deadshot, if you know those.
Yeah.
And they're given a chance to reduce their sentence by doing these very dangerous suicidal missions, and if they survive, they get time off. They can't escape because they have little exploding things in their heads.
Yeah.
And they get tasked with a very important mission in this one. It's a cool
it's a fun mission.
Villain, you know.
Cool villain, cool mission, cool concept, cool area. Like it's all confined to one area, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
You don't have to think too much on that. So like I said, like it's a real opposite of Tenet. Turn your brain off and enjoy.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Yeah, and it's beautiful too. Like it's also the colors. There's one scene with Harley Quinn, no spoilers, but there's one scene with Harley Quinn that's beautiful, one fight scene. Like I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
If you watch it, you'll see it.
Yeah.
A lot of laughs.
So well done. Yeah.
It's the same guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're the guy who directed that, so if you've seen that, like you're a Marvel head and you're like, I don't really like DC. It's not like the old Suicide Squad. That one was bland and gray and depressing.
It's not a DC movie.
This one is like they're like, hey, why don't we just make it fun? And it works.
Yeah, it is a James Gunn film. I don't think it's DC or Marvel in my opinion. Like it's completely different. And I think the Guardians films are also James Gunn films. They're not Marvel films in my mind. So
8.8 out of 10 for me. Would recommend.
That's about what I give it, like 8.6, 8.7.
Yeah, would watch again.
Definitely recommend watching at least once.
Yeah, one more. Right?
Finally, yes, I've watched. What's that? 6 movies technically because I watched Tenet twice. Finally, we're gonna go over a movie I watched last night at like midnight after watching Tenet.
Yeah.
Which was a wild move. I didn't think I'd get through the movie.
My brain was already at full capacity. Like all of it was gone.
Yeah.
At minimum capacity, I guess.
I was better because I had already seen the movie and I had already watched all those videos, so I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But I still had to explain it, which was mind-boggling to explain because I had to think about it again.
Yeah.
But the final movie was extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. Now, I heard of this one before, and it won a Sundance Film Award.
Which is cool.
Which is, it's good. It's like Indie Movie Award, essentially. And I had heard of it. I had no clue what it was about. I didn't even know what it was. And then I watched the trailer, and it was an account of Ted Bundy, the serial killer from the 60s, 70s. And Zac Efron played Ted Bundy. And I was like, I've heard of this. I remember people talking about Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy. And he was amazing. Like, I don't really like Zac Efron that much because of High School Musical. That's all I can think of when I see him. And I think he was good in High School Musical too, but it wasn't like an acting role.
Yeah.
So whenever I see him in real serious roles, I'm like, no, can't be him.
It's the same thing our mom had last night with Robert Pattinson in Tenet, because he's a main role in Tenet, and he's a very serious actor now. But he played Twilight, which is a movie that I don't think you watched.
Nope,
I didn't watch either. So I don't see him anymore as Twilight guy.
I pretty much see him as Batman. Like I'm waiting for him to be Batman.
It's gonna be cool.
And The Lighthouse. I see The Lighthouse, Batman. And now this. So,
but Zac Efron, I mean, I've seen him in a couple other things, but I mean,
he's usually not serious.
Yeah,
he's usually in like
he was like the goofy neighbor with Seth Rogen in that one movie.
Yeah, he was in Baywatch, I think.
He
right?
was, yeah.
He's not.
Did he show up in one of the Jump Streets? I feel like he might have.
I'm not. I was gonna say one of the Jump Streets too.
Probably the latter.
Probably
one.
22. Yeah.
Anyway, but he's good in this.
Yeah, he was great.
Good.
It doesn't really focus on the murders or anything Ted Bundy did. It focuses more on the court case, the fact that it was the first nationally televised court case.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was. That's apparently. Cool. I didn't know any of this. I never really looked into Ted Bundy at all. So I was interested to see, and I had the morbid curiosity of wanting to know what exactly he did, because they never really said. It was from the perspective of him and his lover, who was a single mother and had a child. Oh. And he never did anything to her. He was super nice. He was like this wonderful man. And it just delves into the story of falling through the court system and their relationship through court and stuff like that. And it's just very well done. And the ending is just like everything you want. Like,
really?
Yeah. Perfect.
With those like historical pieces, it's always like, I just imagine like he does what you heard in history. He goes to jail or whatever they did to him.
Yeah, that's
fair.
This ending you would have never heard in history. It was I won't say what it was, but it was great nonetheless. Very good representation in my opinion. I like I said, I have never delved into Ted Bundy because I just never really cared.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
Yeah, I care about other serial killers. No. I watch JCS on YouTube. I know we've talked.
Oh yeah,
I've recommended.
I finally watched
that
video.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, we could talk about that if you want to.
Sure.
Let's finish up with this.
Yeah, let's finish. I'll give it a rating. So I'll actually give this one a 9 flat.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought I wasn't gonna make it through the movie. I thought I clicked on a boring movie.
Yeah.
And about halfway through, I'm like, how much do I have left? And it was an hour left, and it was like 12:30 at night. I don't stay up that late. I usually go to bed at that time, like max. So I was like, okay, there's no way I can go to bed though. This movie is so good. I need to see what happens. And it was great. There was no complaints. It got a little slow towards the end, but it still kept your attention.
Yeah.
And then the end just slaps you in the face with, emotion.
Cool. So 8. What would you say?
9 flat.
9 flat. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's Matt's movie corner.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do it again next week.
I'm sure. Hopefully there's a bad movie. I want to hear what happens when there's a bad movie.
Yeah, I do want to watch some bad movies. Like I did.
Because everything was above like an 8.8, 8.6 for you.
When we did the Tetra Tech October horror board where we watched movies and rated them, I tried to make it my goal to watch as many terrible horror movies as possible to let people know they're not good.
Yeah. So just a quick debrief on this. At my old job, and Matthew used to work there for a little bit. We would every October watch as many horror movies as we could. We would put it on a whiteboard in our lab, and we would just say like, out of how many stars, what do you get? I used to recommend saying how scary it was. Wait, did we do that this year? How scary it was and how good it was?
Yeah, you give like a recommendation. You did that. I also kind of mimicked that a bit.
I like to put how scary it was out of 5 and how good it was out of 5.
Oh no, it wasn't. We didn't do 2 ratings. You just in the description you put like not scary or kind of scary.
Because as if you watch horror movies, you know that there can be some really terrible stories, but it can be scary. Like there can be grave encounters. Grave encounters. That one's it's really scary, but it's like halfway story.
It's a
but there can be ones that are not scary at all, but have a great story. Like Hereditary, after a second watch through, kind of gets there. Midsummer's not that scary.
Midsummer's not scary at all.
So right.
But it's a great horror movie.
Yeah. So we did that. So when we get to the October, we'll probably do that again personally.
Yeah.
So
but talking about bad movies, I watched As Above, So Below.
Oh, that's a while ago, right?
For the horror movie. Yeah.
Did we talk about this last week?
No, I've never talked about this movie on the podcast.
Okay.
I think I may have mentioned it once.
I think you mentioned it once,
but I never said what it was.
You did say what it was about.
Did I?
Yeah.
The Paris Catacombs.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the pool on 12 feet.
Oh, 12 feet deep. Yeah.
I watched that one too, but not with you.
That's barely a horror movie, but that's funny that you've seen that. No. But As Above, So Below is a movie where they go into the Paris catacombs to look for. It's essentially a national treasure. They're looking for.
They copied National Treasure on a lot of things.
They did. There was. I'm going to throw this spoiler out. It's barely a spoiler
because at the beginning, right?
They flash through it in 10 minutes on how they figure out how to get into it and everything. The directions for the catacombs and where to go are on the back of a stone tablet in a museum. That
they reveal with lemon juice.
They reveal with the lemon juice and a lighter.
Yeah.
It's so bonkers bad.
I got mad at that. I was like, this movie's it's got to be better than National Treasure at this point, or I'm going to be mad they ripped off National Treasure.
And they skip so many plot points. Like, they'll like instantly figure things out.
Yeah.
They'll instantly have plans for things. They'll instantly have everything. And there's no action until the last 10 minutes of the movie. and the action at the last 10 minutes of the movie is trash.
Because you just don't see what's happening.
No, it's just pitch black,
Yeah.
and then it's through a camera lens half the time, or it's a still frame, or it's.
They make it found footage all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah,
or
it's
was
like,
it all found footage the
no.
whole time? I didn't think so. Okay.
It was like pseudo found footage where it looked like a person was walking with the camera, but it was like high quality. Like it was like somebody was walking with a studio camera like this.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So I might have to watch some stinkers here this week.
There, yeah. But anyway, speaking of movies, this is a guy that I know we said we're going to talk about the crazy guy in that video, but I don't know if that would be conducive on a podcast. I want to talk about it a lot is the thing. So
yeah, that's fair. We'll talk about it separate.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about it on the podcast, we'll hit it back next week.
I will recommend JCS on YouTube, JCS Academy, I think it is. He made a recent video on the interrogation of the Parkland shooter, the Parkland, Florida shooter who killed 17 people.
Mm-hmm. Don't say his name if you.
No, I don't know his name.
Good.
But it's an interesting video. They go over the interrogation film, and it's like he pretends to be crazy. So it's just
he's
an
trying to get
interesting dichotomy.
He's trying to get an insanity plea, and you can the guy goes over what the difference between like an actual insane person is at the very beginning, which was terrifying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a nightmare.
It's an hour-long video, but it's a really good watch.
Oh yeah, it's basically a movie, like a documentary. You're watching a documentary, and it's really good. He basically talks from the perspective of the detective. So
it's weird how you feel bad for the Parkland shooter or something. Did you have that experience at any time? You forget who he is for a second.
Yeah, you feel bad for a bit, and then
you remember what he did.
Shows. We'll talk about it later, but he shows a video at one point, and you realize there's no remorse for what he did. You
feel sorry for him for like a second, then you're like, oh my gosh, this guy like murdered a bunch of high school students.
Yeah.
And you're
even
like,
he acknowledges it through the video. He's like, it would be almost comical what he did if he hadn't done what he had done before.
Yeah, but it's a good video. Really good video. So, but anyway, speaking on one of the actors from the movies that we both watched together, The Suicide Squad, the main character is Idris Elba, and there's some big news in the world of Idris Elba this week, which is that he is going to play Knuckles the Hedgehog in the next Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which brand news to me is that there's going to be a sequel to the Sonic the Hedgehog.
That was also brand new news to me. I honestly thought he was going to be the main character. I thought he was going to be like Sonic.
Did that movie do well?
I think it did. I think it did better than expected. When the poster came out in the beginning, they pulled it and canceled it and redid it, I'm pretty sure.
And then they dropped the trailer. And it was the Sonic looked terrible.
Yeah, and then they redid the whole movie, whole Sonic. Everything Sonic was redone.
Because he looked like a space rat.
Yes,
a blue space rat.
Blue space rat is a good way to do it. And then they made him a little more cartoony, which
was better because his eyes were like my eyes.
Normal person eyes.
Which when you put it on a cartoon blue 2 foot tall hedgehog body
Black
with big
nose,
red shoes,
a little extended and like tiny mouth, it was terrifying.
Have you ever seen the old Jumanji with Robin Williams? He looked like the Monkey Boy but blue. Like
when he was halfway in between.
When he had that little like protruded nose, that was always scary. I used to be scared whenever I played board games.
Part.
I always got scared when we played board games. I'm gonna get turned into a monkey or get stuck in it.
That movie is terrifying,
but it's good.
It's amazing. Yeah, I've watched it like 7 times probably.
So they redid Sonic. They released it. I think during COVID. Like I think it was it was right. I think it was this February, wasn't it?
It was during COVID. I'm almost certain.
I think it was one of the because it's gonna come out in 2020, and then I think it was one of the movies that get hit by COVID, and then I think they released it this February.
I think it was one of the movies that hit theaters and then instantly dropped out because of COVID.
Oh,
if I remember,
right.
I remember it being in theaters for a second, and I think they pulled it. I think it was literally when COVID started that they dropped it.
So apparently somehow it still did well enough that they warranted a sequel for it, because the news is that Knuckles is going to be in it and Idris Elba, this heartthrob, sexy, like sexiest man.
Actor.
He's an attractive man. And he's got
got
a great voice.
Yeah.
It's not the voice of Knuckles the Hedgehog.
No. I don't know how he is the voice of
I don't want to be I don't want to be seduced by a red hedgehog.
Yeah.
You know? Like they put the guy who played, I think he was the guy that played John Ralphio in Parks and Rec as I think that was Sonic.
I was just about to ask him, like, the main question is, can you even tell me who voiced Sonic in the
John
last movie?
Ralphio.
Okay.
Ben Stewart, maybe his name is?
You wouldn't have known that if you had watched Parks and Rec. I'm almost certain, right?
No, I'm positive.
Okay, yeah. Because you said John Ralphio, and
I don't know his real name.
Don't know his actual name.
I think it's Ben something. But he's got this like squirrely voice. Like he was the annoying character in Parks and Rec because like he has a weird voice. He's like obnoxious.
Was he pretending to be rich, or was he actually rich?
His dad was rich.
Oh, yeah.
And they would ask him for money. But he was funny in that, and I'm sure he was fine in
funny.
Sonic the Hedgehog. But like, he's got the voice of a video game hedgehog, you know? And
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's him. It fits.
Idris Elba does not.
Idris Elba being Knuckles is beyond me.
It's really funny.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy, like what it would equate to in another movie, like another like cartoon movie.
So
like,
I have an idea. I never watched this, but the Emoji Movie, remember that one?
yeah.
The guy who played, I'm blanking on his name.
Kenneth Braun being the smiley face emoji.
No. Who's the guy who plays Professor X in
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. I almost said Patrick Williams. That's a basketball player on the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Stewart played the poop emoji, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like about the same.
Why was he that?
Why is it's funny.
Like,
it got a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know if it's gonna translate.
It's like Robert Pattinson playing the Joker.
Yeah.
That would not make sense. He barely makes sense playing Batman, in my opinion.
Yeah, you gotta make it work to make that work. So I don't really know a lot about Sonic. Like, I mean, I played like some games when I was little, but not a lot. I was more into Mario.
Yeah, I played a few.
So I don't really know what Knuckles sounds like. I know what Tails sounds like, though.
Yeah, I know what Tails sounds like.
He's more annoying voiced. Yeah. Who should play Tails in Sonic is my question. If Tails is in, I would imagine you can't bring Knuckles in and not bring Tails in, because Tails is his guy, you know?
That's true. Tails has got to be somebody.
Who should play Tails?
Well, it's got to be the opposite of who you think Tails would actually be.
What if Idris Elba played Tails?
Yeah, he plays both of them, yeah. But he pretends to be Tails, so he's like in a high-pitched voice, too. He's like...
I think it'd be funny if you just play both of them with the exact same voice. Like, they're just talking to each other, and it's just Idris Elba talking to himself.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. Idris Elba as Tails is funny. I think you got to go like Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson as Tails.
Oh my God, that's the best example for what they just did.
Yeah, you're like, just pick whoever.
Just pick the best actor you can find and take him. The best actor who will say yes. Which I think Idris Elba is the best actor who would say yes.
Yeah, like that's.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Like
they shot their shot and they got it.
You like put the you know how like you have the movie posters like outside the movies, and it like
a
lot of times they don't have the actors in order of where they are in the thing.
Yeah.
Like, so up top it's gonna have like the guy who played the real guy, and then Ben Gianralphio, and then Idris Elba and Nick Offerman, and you're like, who? You're just like trying to like trying to do like a child's word thing in a Texas Roadhouse menu, like drawn with crayon, like he's him and he's him.
So if that guy is that guy and that guy is that guy, where's Nick Offerman?
It's like a serial killer board with like the pins in it, and you're like lining it up. You're like, no, he can't play him. You like cut the line.
Oh, it's Always Sunny, Charlie Day.
Oh, Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't think of the name. I wanted to say it right away.
I don't know. We're kind of getting off track here, but
that's fine.
That episode's hilarious when both Charlie and Matt get jobs in the office.
Yeah.
In an office.
They go to the mail room.
And they go to the mail room, and they're both just drinking coffee. They also share a paycheck, which is awesome. This is from, did I say it's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I said It's Always Sunny, but it is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's a great episode.
I love this theory because I didn't even think about it, I don't think. But it's that Charlie is stupid in the show. Yeah. And he was so hopped up on like caffeine that he kept and he's also illiterate. He kept reading Pennsylvania because they live in Philadelphia as Pepe Sylvia.
Didn't he say that?
No.
Didn't Max say that? I thought Max said that.
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
No.
Maybe I've heard that then.
It's so funny to me that
I like that
because they don't say in the show.
Pepe Sylvia.
The people in the who made the show, the four main people, didn't even think about it. I don't think they're like, that's true. He could be reading Pennsylvania as Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia doesn't work in the office, and that's one of my favorite. Like, we didn't even think about that. Just funny coincidences in that show because they're such a good episode. So funny in that show. Yeah. And just to think they didn't think of that is awesome.
It's the perfect episode of Charlie Day's
character. My gosh. The perfect voice for Tails is Charlie Day.
Oh my god.
That's like
actually like it is.
That worked.
It would be jarring when you heard it
though. It would freak me out because he's, Charlie.
Yeah. Well, I think if he went like you know how he does that?
Yeah.
Like, like that. And if Tails did that,
that would be so funny.
I'd be so confused.
And Tails is an illiterate addict sniffing glue. Just like Charlie is.
Oh, they just copy and pasted his character to Tails.
I think that's actually perfect for his voice. I mean, I don't know the Sonic lore, and I don't play the games, but that seems like it would work out. I think he's got a high kind of
Tails is too serious in the games though, from what I know.
I don't know.
I don't like Charlie. Yeah, I mean that's a funny analysis on it, but I don't like Charlie Day playing serious people.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. He's a cartoon.
Yeah, he was like a
fox
snowboard instructor, I think, in one movie. I forget what it was. but I think we saw it together in theaters, or somebody I saw it together in
He
theaters
was a
with.
teacher in the fist fight movie. Did you see that one?
No.
With Ice Cube?
No,
that one's actually kind of funny. That was pretty good.
I forget what it was.
Is it that episode of Sunny where they're on the mountains and it's like an
no.
80s movie?
No, I know that one.
That one's good.
No.
Pete's fun.
I gotta start rewatching that show.
That's such a good show.
I started to rewatch it, and I didn't want to watch. I just kept wanting to watch season 12 over and over again with the water slide.
Yeah.
I just keep watching that episode, and I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it off.
The
and
water
never
slide
watch
one
it
is incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to get into
what were we on, or were we?
We were talking about Idris Elba.
Were we done? Oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah,
unless you want to,
okay.
do you want to talk any more about him?
No, that's good.
I wanted to talk about a little sports news. This one, you don't have to even like sports to be with this one.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a heartbreaking, hilarious story. But a man named Dennis Schroder, he used to play for the Los Angeles Lakers basketball team. And he was offered, I want to say it was a 4-year, $84 million extension to continue playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, which they're a very good team. They won the championship 2 years ago. LeBron James, you guys probably know that name. He's on that team. LeBron James. Anthony Davis, also on the team. So he could probably win a championship. He was going to get paid $21 million a year, which is pretty good.
That's honestly for him. From what I know from him,
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
So that's like great. A middling salary in the NBA, which sounds, if you don't pay attention to sports and you don't realize how much they make, that's, sorry to break that news to you.
Mind-boggling.
That's like, oh, he's probably pretty good at basketball. Gets like 15 points a game. Like most, like the good, like I think Luka Doncic just got a 4-year, $207 million extension, so he's making over like $52 million a year.
Yeah, like $60 million a year.
Same with Trae Young, and they've been playing for maybe like 4 years in the league.
Yeah,
so.
And they're stars, but they're not LeBron James. Like LeBron James
that's the
in his
most
prime.
they got Supermax, so that's the most you can get.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's like it's not great, but so what Dennis Schroder said was no thanks. He's like, I don't want to play for he's like, I think I can get more money in free agency. So they were offered that to him maybe like 6 months ago, and free agency started about a month ago. He did not get offered that because he didn't play as well towards the end of the season, and he recently just accepted a deal with the Boston Celtics, which is a fine team. They're not as good as the Lakers, but they're fine. They can make the playoffs. For 1 year for $5.6 million, I want to say 5.4 maybe.
Yeah,
5.4 to 5.7 is what I'm gonna say.
It's an insane downgrade.
He lost like $75 million.
It's the funniest story in the most recent future of the NBA.
It's a nightmare.
I don't know how or why he did it when he knows what the Lakers are trying to do.
And he knows what he is.
And he knows, he has to know that is probably the most he's ever going to get offered. I think, honestly, the only person who made a mistake, never mind. I was going to say, he made a mistake, but...
At the time...
the Lakers made the mistake, too.
To offer him that much money?
Yeah, no, do not offer that guy that much money. I barely knew who he was, and I did the tiniest bit of research into how he played, and he does not deserve $80 million for years.
Yeah, it's... I would be throwing up still if I was Dennis Schroder.
Yeah. Did you see did you see the post that they made in Comic Sans for his announcement?
Yeah, he made that.
Yeah. He was like, I thank the Boston Celtics for offering me this offer of $4 million, all in Comic Sans with a picture of him, and then just posted it on social media.
I'd be crying, throwing up.
It was a death note. It was a suicide note that he put out.
I'd be close, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still making $5 million to play a game.
Yeah, but
and he'll probably get good minutes. And probably if he plays to what he did last year, fingers crossed for him because I feel bad at him at this point.
Yeah.
He should make more money next year, but not. He'll never get back to where he was offered.
Yeah,
that.
I was about to say, his shelf life is almost up.
Yeah, it was a dumb decision.
And sports, people that play sports have the ultimate problem of making all their money when they're 30 up till 30, and then they don't get any more income. So you have to make as much money as you can as quick as possible and start saving to be efficient with that.
Yeah,
there's a fun graph where it shows the average human's income over life to retirement, and it's a slow, steady progress up and then flat. And sports players on that graph shoot up instantly to what we make in our lifetime, and then literally drop from there.
Yeah, so they're like, I'm set for life, right?
Yeah, and then they don't do anything. So you have to be able to make money after you leave. And imagine losing out on $70 million. You could live your life for $70 million.
It was $80 million.
Yeah.
Because he was offered $84 million, I think.
Yeah. So
and he's getting $5 million.
Imagine I give you $80 million right now. could you live the rest of your life with $80 million?
Give me probably like 10 million. I'd be like,
Yes,
yeah, I'll figure
yes,
this out.
yeah,
I'll invest
yeah.
it. I'll be all right.
I will only spend $1 million a year until I'm 80. Wow, $1 million a year, and I won't have to work a single day of my life. Yes, yes, please.
That sucks so
now I give you
much.
$4 million, and you try to live the rest of your life. You're not living as pretty.
I want to throw up right now. I feel so
Honestly,
bad
yeah.
for the guy. Like, it's
Oh my
funny
God.
and like good for you betting on yourself, but like there's a limit to where you can bet on yourself. Like getting
Yeah,
to the
oh, yeah.
NBA is like you bet on yourself a
Yeah.
lot to get there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Good job, Dennis.
You made it.
Take the 80 million, man.
Yeah.
You could have gotten injured and he's
Yeah,
not getting
yeah,
that much
yeah,
money. Like
yeah.
he's not playing in the NBA. He's not getting signed. It's just
It's also only 1 year. Who knows what's gonna happen after that?
he could make 40 million.
He could get offered 40 the next year.
If you know anything about the NBA, he's not gonna get.
No,
40.
he's not. Plus, with how quick people leave the league, from what I know, he's not. He's gonna be rotated out. If you're not LeBron James, you're not.
You'd have to have Aaron Rodgers level of "f you, pay me" kind of like oh, you drafted someone else in my position, like I'm gonna go win the MVP. Like oh, you didn't sign me for a lot of money, I'm gonna win the MVP and then go to a different team
and show my worth and get more money.
No offense to Dennis Schroder, but I don't think he's that good.
No.
He's never shown that he could be Aaron Rodgers.
It's extremely unfortunate.
So I don't know whether to laugh or feel bad. I think I feel more bad.
Yeah. I feel bad,
but it's good news if you're a Wizards fan because that way
our deal is better.
The Lakers had cap space, so that they could trade for Russell Westbrook from the Wizards. Yeah, and now we can get all these young players and not have to pay Russell Westbrook $45 million.
And hopefully, we'll be an average team next year.
Not playing tournament, baby. Six seed or die.
I was fine with how we did this year. I think we played to where I expected us to play.
We didn't at first, yeah.
But. Well, yeah. At first, I gave up. End of the season that we started playing well. Playoffs, we played as good as we could, I think, against the Sixers.
Yeah, I like our team a lot right now. I think we'll do better next year. So
yeah, I might start watching.
Yeah. But anyway, you want to move on to our last topic here?
Yeah, we'll talk about
Jeopardy.
Yes.
It took me a second. I was like, wait, what are we talking
I was
about?
hoping you had it down. So yeah, Jeopardy announced its newest host and its newest second host.
Yeah, I got their names up here. It is Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik, I believe is the name. Mayim. Sorry if I'm.
Bialik.
It's Bialik. It looks like.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about either of these people. I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure they're great, but no one seems to be happy with this.
Really? I haven't seen too much on it.
No, a lot of people.
Personally, I like the idea of two hosts. Just not the people. I don't know the people, so I don't really care. But
the top headline when I typed in Jeopardy host is how Jeopardy got the host decision so wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
So it seems like people don't like it.
I would imagine.
I don't like it.
That's probably public opinion, but I do like the two host thing personally.
Okay. I love Alex Trebek. That man could do no wrong in my eyes. I hope he didn't do any wrong.
I don't think anyone can fill the shoes.
Oh, that's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. So how do you go about it? Do you hire a rando like Alex Trebek was when he got hired? Pretty much a rando. Mm-hmm. Or do you hire Russell Westbrook to do it?
That would be something.
I couldn't think of a name that was popular.
Who
did Aaron Rodgers? You hire Aaron Rodgers.
That would be cool.
It'd be cool. People liked when he was the host, but it's not sustainable. It's volatile because he's a star that makes a lot of money anywhere else.
This guy, I heard him on a podcast. His name is Alex Faust, which he's also a nobody to most people, but he is a play-by-play announcer for the Los Angeles Kings. And he was kind of in like the talks to do it, and he might have guest host. But like the way he talks, I was like, and he was so like relatable, and like he kind of gave me Trebek vibes. Like that sounds weird, but like the way he talked on this podcast, like didn't talk like Trebek, but like he had that same good nature, but also could like jab at people. You know how Trebek did sometimes. Like he would just like say like to people if they were doing weird stuff, because there were a bunch of nerds on that show.
Yeah, so, you gotta reel them in. You gotta.
Trebek's a cool nerd. So when one of the real nerds comes on the show, you're like, Trebek's got to be like, hey, just put him in his place. Yeah, he's like, I'm cool. You're not.
We're entertaining here. We're not,
Like no one cares who wins. They're not gonna remember you after this unless you're like that Holzhauser guy or like I don't know who else won.
Mike or James.
Ken.
James.
No, Ken was the guy who won a lot. Ken Richards.
No, it wasn't Ken. I think it was James.
James Holzhauser. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't know his last name.
Jeopardy. Ken Jennings, that's it.
Ken Jennings.
Yeah, not Ken Jeopardy.
Ken Jeopardy, his name. His new name now, actually, legally.
Yeah, I mean, he did the best other than Holzhauser.
I know you mentioned something that was interesting to me before the show about this topic. Would we want to go over who we think would be great Jeopardy hosts? I know you just said Alex Faust, but
do you have one in mind?
Personally, I was trying to think. I was thinking of podcasters because I think some of them.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
My first thought was podcasters because I heard that interview with him.
Yeah.
And then in my head I thought Joe Rogan, and I laughed. It's really hard.
He would be the worst. He would interject with other facts throughout.
Yeah.
And then the show would be hours long. Yeah. It would be podcast.
It'd be like who was the president of after JFK? They'd be like, like Lyndon B. Johnson. It's like, after he decided to plan with the CIA to kill JFK. Like, can we just do the show, Joe?
And he'd be like, I met a Johnson once. We went hunting. We went bear hunting. Actually, you want to see a bear hunting suit for repelling bears when they bite you? It's got a bunch of spikes on it. It's like what Kanye West wore to his latest, and then it just keeps going. No end to it. And they're like, Joe, we got to keep going in his earpiece. And he's like, all right, we got to get back on track. Next question. It's 5 minutes a question.
Next question. You guys ever tried GMT before?
Next question. How many psychedelics have you done in your life? That's just a personal question. Let's talk about it.
Joe just picks the coolest guy. And then the final Jeopardy is just another fear factor around. It's just the walls fall away.
And they're pulls out a bucket of cockroaches and sets it down.
And a helicopter flies over, and he's like, "You were flying over the Suez Canal, and this helicopter's out of gas.
You have 10 minutes to eat every cockroach in there, or else
while
you die.
dangling from this. And then you cut the wire.
Yeah.
It's like I could see that. That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
So what you were talking about podcast hosts?
Yeah,
do you have one in mind?
I was trying to think, and I listened to a lot of out there podcasts. One person I thought of immediately was Lex Friedman. I think I've recommended him to you, but I don't know if you watched.
No, I've heard of him, and he was on Joe Rogan before.
He's very boring sounding is the only problem, but his voice is so sultry. He's a former Soviet Union. He was born in the Soviet Union, and he moved to America, and he's an AI scientist. He develops AI, and he knows
artificial intelligence
so much. Yeah, he knows so much about everything. He gets biochemists, neurosurgeons, anybody you can think of.
Yeah, you gotta have a smart guy is the thing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know about these people. I'm sure they're very smart.
Yeah,
but you gotta have a smart.
Joe Rogan, he's the smartest guy I know. So, Lex Friedman is super smart, super sultry voice. But
I thought of another funny one.
Yeah. But he wouldn't have the jabs like Alan Trebek, like you were saying. But go ahead.
New Alex for the Jeopardy host, Alex Jones.
Oh yes. Okay, that would actually be fun, and I would watch Jeopardy if he did it because I have a bit of an insight on my life. I have watched the Alex Jones podcast multiple times.
Oh yeah.
For fun. Yeah.
Is it good?
It's hilarious.
I'm sure it's hilarious. Yeah. It's more entertainment than wow, I'm getting my news from him.
I kept up with the Capitol riots from him.
Wow, really?
Because he was there. Yeah, I was like, I want to see what he says. And he claimed, it was hilarious. If I have to recommend anybody watching anything for fun that's political,
that's so funny.
Please watch his 3-episode rant. Pretty much, it's like a 3-day thing that he did on the Capitol riots. He claims himself to be the savior of the Capitol.
Oh my God.
He went in to the Capitol to get people out after encouraging them to go to the Capitol.
What a hero.
Ran through a police line, claimed to be a hero, and told the story like he was a knight in shining armor. I think he pulled a Dan Bilzerian, if you ever heard of him, and asked for a police officer's gun. I don't know if that's correct, but he essentially asked for full clearance to walk in.
Can I kill someone?
Yeah. I think he may have asked if he could actually attack them. Is this
martial law, baby?
Yeah. Can I get them out in any way possible? And they're like, no, you can't even go in.
That's when
he's like, all right, and he walked in.
All right. I just want to hear him read a Jeopardy question in his voice.
Yeah.
That just some random thing about 16th century literature to me.
Yeah, honestly, if nobody flamed him for being on the show, which I mean, he's a person. We can't flame him for things he's done if he's going.
Oh, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
The internet can.
Okay. Yes. But what I'm saying is, for actual humanity's sake, if we wanted him on Jeopardy, we would have to completely admonish him of all of what he said and let him live a new life of a Jeopardy host.
Which I hope
He'd have to stop. But I want him to
be. I want him to be the same. Though.
Oh yeah,
I just want his voice and the way he acts.
But honestly, like I would love if Alex Jones did exactly that because he is a fun person to listen to.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about half the time. He does do research. He does do the things he does, but it's all bad and it's all wrong.
He's very passionate about the things that he's passionate about. You gotta give him credit for that if you're gonna give him credit for anything.
Yeah, so. And he has his own. It's so funny when he promotes his own supplement line that he has. He has like
the picture
male supplements.
Do you know the before and after picture of him?
No.
Oh my god, it's the funniest meme. Like, okay.
I have to say, I love Alex Jones. So.
I love him too. Is there anybody else you think should be on the show? Joe Rogan and Alex Jones seem to be my top picks. And Alex Faust.
Yeah, honestly,
my real pick is Alex Faust.
A comedy podcaster like Dynamic Banter.
Oh yeah,
like
Steve
Mike
Zaragoza.
Or Steve. Yeah, either of Steve would honestly be the best out of anyone in my opinion.
I would cry, literal tears.
He is a nerd. He is ridiculously funny in my opinion.
Oh yeah, so funny.
But it's not the funny that works on TV.
Yeah, no.
It is wild. It is
screaming.
Off the wall, screaming like he doesn't. It's just wild humor, and I would love to watch a Jeopardy episode where he does that. And I petition to Steve if he's listening. Do like a Valley cast Jeopardy where you are the host.
Oh,
like
yeah, that'd be cool.
Get people together and do it because you would be hilarious. Don't let them talk.
And then send that tape in the Jeopardy.
Oh yeah, send that in. Yeah, because
and they'll change your mind.
He'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, that's pretty much.
Do you have a serious answer or no? It's okay if you don't. It's hard.
I think Lex Friedman's my serious answer.
That's good. I just want to make sure that we both have a serious one.
It just doesn't fit as well as I'd hope. Mm-hmm. But he fits like the nerd and his voice. I go to sleep to his voice sometimes. It is so wonderful.
No one there. Oh, speaking of wonderful voices, there's one guy in particular that no one knows who he is, but there's a podcast called Ologies, which I recommend, which is really good. This woman just interviews people like that are like experts in their field, like in different ologies.
Yeah.
There was this guy who was an expert on bears, and he was a British guy with the sexiest voice you've ever heard. And I was like, that guy should be on Jeopardy, or just read to me. But he was
Idris Elba should be the Jeopardy host.
But as Knuckles, they should.
But CG. CG. I know. He's they do it in VR chat.
Oh,
he's
Knuckles.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a nightmare.
But no one is ever gonna like replicate like Alex Trebek, so I feel bad for these two people because like I'm sure they're gonna be fine. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they're gonna have to keep him there for like 16 years again. It's going to have to be another.
It's a life sentence.
It is.
So that's why I feel like a lot of people were like, "I'm not doing it," because it is. You're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Trebek wasn't in movie. I don't think so.
Alex Trebek was a nobody outside of Jeopardy. He was still famous, but he was so famous in Jeopardy that he was a famous.
You can't
person.
go out and be like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. You like, that's a Jeopardy guy.
I know that guy. He's a Jeopardy guy.
So that's everything he's in. It's like, Alex Trebek's not doing anything else. So it's like a life sentence. You're like, if you're successful anywhere doing anything your own, like you're not doing it. So So, sorry to the two hosts that are hosts now, but I'm sure they'll be great doing it. But it's a big thing. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should probably wrap up here.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think so.
I'd say so. Are we doing Tails impressions now?
We're trying out. We're sending this into the Sonic directors.
The Sonic people.
Thank you for listening, Sonic directors. If you want to follow us on social media, we have Instagram and Twitter @Brothers Whimm. If you want to email us with any like ideas, or if you want to be a guest or anything of the sort, just say hi to us.
We gotta have a guest on sometime.
What's the email? brotherswhim@gmail.com.
brotherswhim@gmail.com.
It's in the description.
Yeah.
Our YouTube, the Brothers Whimm podcast. Follow us. Subscribe to us. Like, comment, do all these fun things. We appreciate.
Follow us on Spotify and Apple Music. I believe you can do that.
You can.
Spotify.
And Google Podcasts if you do that.
Yeah.
But we thank you most of all just for listening. We appreciate those who come back, or if this is your first episode or your last one. Sorry if we did something wrong.
I feel like it was a good episode.
I'm glad with it. But anyway, thank you for listening. I'm glad with.
That's a trash bag advertisement.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Their line.
Man, we have so many people.
We
need to send this to Jeopardy.
Yeah. Okay. We got to
Glad.
Idris Elba,
Sonic.
Charlie Day,
Sonic. What's Sonic?
Zaragoza.
Like Green Hill Zone. Where does Sonic?
Sonic, Green Hill Zone.
But thank you for listening. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I've been Ian.
And I've been Matt.
And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.